Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Thai ebook before it's gone.
Sawadika, ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to ThaiPod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy. The fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย Over the next 25 lessons, you'll learn everything there is about the reading and writing of the Thai language. By the end, you'll be able to read Thai menu items, communicate online, and make your way through Thailand easier. Learning to read and write Thai will also help you to speak Thai better. Are you ready? Then let's go! The Thai alphabet is made up of 44 consonants. That might seem like a lot to you now, but if you just learn a few at a time, you'll see that they're not difficult to master. Thai is read from left to right just like English. The letters of the Thai alphabet are grouped into 3 consonant classes: low, middle, and high. In this lesson, we'll learn 2 low-class consonants. Each Thai consonant has a name made up of 2 parts. The first part of the name is the sound that the letter makes as the initial sound of a syllable. The last part of the name is some word that contains that letter. These names make it easier to remember the letters. In addition to the consonants, the Thai script has 32 vowels. That sounds like a lot, but most of them are pairs of long and short vowels. So it's not as hard as you think. The Thai vowels have to be written and attached to a consonant. They can appear above, below, in front, behind, or all around a consonant. Thai has 5 different tones. Tone means how high or low the pitch of a sound is. The 5 tones are mid, low, falling, high, and rising. Or if we use the sound ga as an example, the 5 tones are ga, 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 ga. If you make the wrong tone, you won't be easily understood. Thai script has 4 different tone symbols, which helps to indicate different tones in writing, but they don't automatically tell you which tone a syllable is. The consonant class, length of the vowel, and type of ending sound also factor in. If that sounds like a lot to keep track of, don't worry. We'll tackle each tone rule one by one so you won't feel overwhelmed. Okay, are you ready to learn your first Thai consonant? Let's begin. Let's start with the letter Ma. Remember how I said each letter has 2 parts to its name? The first part of Ma is mo because it makes a sound just like the letter M. And ma is a word that means horse. Most Thai letters start with a small circle which we call the head of the letter. The head of Ma is written clockwise, and the rest of the letter is written with one continuous line. If you want an easy way to remember the shape of this letter, think of a coffee mug with a broken handle. The head on the top and the loop on the bottom are where the handle used to be attached. This will help you to remember that Ma has the head and loop on the same side. And of course, Ma and mug both start with the same sound. Now it's time to take up your pencils. We're going to practice writing. Find some paper and follow along. Okay, here we go. Start with the head, go down and make a loop, go to the right, and then back up. See how easy that was? Now you're going to learn your second consonant. The next consonant is Nonu. It makes a sound just like the letter N. Do you know what animal Nonu is named after? Nu means rat in Thai. I bet you're thinking that Nonu looks very similar to Ma. Well, you're right. The only difference between the shape of these 2 letters is Nonu has the loop on the right side instead of the left side. That's why I said you should remember a mug for Ma that has a broken handle on the left side. Nonu is handwritten like this. The head is drawn clockwise, and the loop is in the lower right corner. Now you know 2 Thai consonants, but we need to learn some vowels before we can start making words. Remember that the Thai alphabet is entirely consonants. Vowels are a separate group of symbols that orbit around the consonants. The Thai word for vowel is sara. Each vowel's name is made up of the word sara plus the sound that the vowel makes. The first vowel that we'll learn is sara. It is written to the right of a consonant, but a lot of other vowels will be found in different positions. Vowels can be long or short. In this case, sara is a long vowel that makes the sound a, like the A in father. Sara is very easy to write. Just draw a slightly curved line and then drop straight down. It looks a little like a cane or walking stick. If you think of the sentence, my father walks with a cane, it will help you remember the shape of sara. You will never see sara written just by itself like this. It always has to follow a consonant. Let's use the consonants we learned to demonstrate. Mama followed by sara is the word ma. This is a verb meaning to come. Let's practice writing it together. Mama, sara ma. Now let's try a new word. This time we'll start with nonu. Nonu followed by sara makes na. This is the word for rice field. Let's write it together. Nonu, sara na. Many Thai consonants have different sounds at the beginning and end of syllables, but these two consonants, mama and nonu, don't change their sound. So you can make another word very easily just by adding another nonu to the end of na. Now you have the word nan, which means a long time. Let's write it now. Nonu, sara nonu, nan. Wow, you've already learned how to write 3 words in Thai. See, it's not that hard after all. Now it's time for Prathana's points. Practice writing these letters and words until it becomes second nature. Keep a notebook and write the letters many times while saying their names out loud. That way, the shape of the letter, the sound it makes, and the letter's name will sink deep into your memory. Did you notice that all the words you learned today are pronounced with a mid-tone? It's not just random. There's a rule for it. And in the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn your first rule for reading tones in Thai. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, we learned 2 Thai consonants and 1 vowel. Do you remember them? In this lesson, we are going to learn 3 more consonants and your first tone rule. Ready to start? Then let's go! The 3 consonants that you are going to learn are all low-class consonants. The first one is ngongu. It makes the sound ng, just like the ng at the end of the word sing. This sound is not difficult for English speakers. You just have to get used to making the sound ng at the beginning of words too. Ngongu is also named after an animal. Can you guess which one? Ngu means snake. You can remember the shape of this letter easily. Just think of a snake with its body bent. Get out your pen and paper and let's practice writing it together. Start with the head, drop down, then veer up at an angle. It's easy, right? The next consonant you'll learn is yōyak. As the initial sound of a syllable, it makes the sound y, just like the letter Y in yes. As the final sound of a syllable, it adds the sound E that blends with the vowel. just like the Y at the end of the words say and boy. And if you're wondering about the name of Yö Yak, the word yak means a giant. Yö Yak is distinctive because it's the only Thai letter with two bumps on one side, like this. Let's write Yö Yak together. The head goes counterclockwise. We make two bumps and then come back to the top at a right angle. Time for our last consonant. This one is called vowel. It makes the sound w, just like the W in water. But when it is the final consonant in a syllable, it blends with the vowel to add a slight O sound. The name of vowel comes from the word wan, which means ring. Let's write vowel together. Start with the head at the bottom and curl to the left. We've now learned 5 consonants plus the long vowel sound sara-a, which we can use to make words. Every syllable in Thai has one of 5 tones: mid, low, falling, high, or rising. You can always figure out the tone of a syllable by how it is spelled. The first thing to know is the class of the consonant. All the consonants we've learned so far are low class. The next thing to know is if the syllable ending is live or dead. A live ending is one that makes it possible to keep resonating the sound. Syllables that end in long vowels are live. Do you remember the word for rice field? It was na. This is a live syllable because if I wanted to, I could extend the length of the word and say na. As long as I don't run out of breath, the sound goes on forever, so it is a live ending. The 5 consonant sounds we've learned are the only ones that can end a syllable and make the ending live. For example, you can keep making the sounds or for as long as you like, but you could not do it with t or sh. So now that we know what a live sound is, we can learn our first tone rule, which is low class initial consonant plus live ending equals mid-tone. A mid-tone is pronounced at a flat pitch in the middle of your regular vocal range. Na is an example of a mid-tone syllable. Na. Now let's use the tone rule to make some words. Ngöงูสระอา นอหนู makes ngàn. Ngàn means work. The sound of นอหนู makes it a live syllable, so it is mid-tone. Ngàn. Okay, try to write it. งองู สระอา นอหนู งาน The next word is ยาว which means long. We write ยาว with ยอยักษ์ สระอา วอแหวน ยอยักษ์ is a low-class consonant to start the syllable, and วอแหวน at the end makes it a live syllable, so it's also mid-tone. ยาว Your turn to write it. ยอยักษ์ สระอา วอแหวน ยาว The last word is นาย which means boss. We write นาย with นอหนู สระอา ยอยักษ์. Again, it is mid-tone because it has an initial low-class consonant and has a live ending. Okay, one more for you to write. นอหนู สระอา ยอยักษ์ นาย Now it's time for Pratana's points. Thai doesn't have a V sound like the letter V in Valentine, so Thai speakers use the letter vowel in foreign words that contain the letter V. A lot of newer Thai words are loan words from English, while much of the Thai-based vocabulary consists of words that come from Indian languages such as Sanskrit and Pali. Do you know how to say good in Thai? In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn how to say it and how to write it too. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย made easy the fastest easiest and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson we learned 3 low class consonants งองู ยอยักษ์ and วอแหวน Do you remember how to write them? In this lesson you are going to learn a few middle class consonants plus a new vowel. Ready to start? Then let's go. The first new consonant for this lesson is กอไก่ Gai means chicken. This letter actually looks a little bit like a chicken's head with its beak pointing to the left. The sound of กอไก่ as the initial consonant of a syllable is g. It is very similar to a hard G or an unaspirated K. Do you remember the live syllable endings from the last lesson? Well, กอไก่ makes a dead syllable ending instead. We can call the ending sound made by กอไก่ a K stop because all you do is stop the sound by closing off the passage of air at the back of your throat. It is like trying to say a k sound but without letting any air come out of your mouth. กอไก่ is one of only 2 Thai consonants that doesn't have a head. To write it, just start on the lower left, go up, and make a sharp hook, then come down on the right side. Another middle-class consonant is ดอเด็ก Dek means child. As the initial consonant of a syllable, ดอเด็ก makes the sound d just like the letter D in diamond. ดอเด็ก also makes a dead sound when it's the final consonant. We can call its sound a T stop because you stop the sound by closing off the air in your mouth by touching your tongue near your teeth. It is like you're trying to make a t sound without releasing any air. You can remember the shape of ดอเด็ก by thinking that the bottom is pointed like a diamond. We write ดอเด็ก with a clockwise head in the center. The line continues to make a point and the line bends around to the right side. The third consonant you'll learn today is บอใบไม้ ใบไม้ means leaf. As the initial consonant of a syllable, บอใบไม้ makes the sound b like the B in bucket. You can also think about the shape of บอใบไม้ as a bucket, which might help you remember its sound. We can call its ending sound P stop because we shut off the flow of air by closing our lips. Try making a p sound without opening your lips. That's what the syllable ending sound of บอใบไม้ is like. บอใบไม้ is very easy to write. It's just like มอม้า or นอหนู without a loop at the bottom. Start with a clockwise head and then add 3 straight lines. That's it. Congratulations! You now know all of the final consonant sounds in Thai. I know what you're thinking. Don't we have a lot more letters to learn? We do, but all of the remaining consonants share one of the final sounds that you've already learned. So, no more new complicated final sounds. Do you remember the first tone rule we learned? It was low-class initial consonant plus live ending equals mid-tone. One example was the word นาน The next tone rule is very similar, so it will be easy to remember. It is middle-class initial consonant plus live ending equals mid-tone. Let's try using the middle-class consonants we learned to make some words with this rule. But first, I want to show you one new vowel. This is สระอี It is a long vowel that makes the sound E like the double E in green. สระอี is written above a consonant. For example, here's the wordดี which means good. We write the consonant ดอเด็ก first and then put สระอี on top. D is mid-tone because it has a middle-class consonant with a long vowel, which gives a live ending. When writing สระอี you should start on the right side and draw a line to the left, then make a curved line above that goes back to the right, then a short vertical line. Now let's write another word. Start with กอไก่ and add สระอา Together that makes กา which means crow. Ga also has a middle-class consonant with a long vowel, so that's mid-tone. Now you try to write it. กอไก่ สระอา กา Here's one more word. Can you read it? It's บาน which means to bloom. บาน is also mid-tone. Why? Well, it has an initial middle-class consonant and a live ending. Let's write บาน together. บอใบไม้สระอานอหนูบาน Now it's time for Pratana's points. Practice recognizing Thai consonants and vowels by reading through the vocabulary list and conversation transcripts on thaipod101.com. You won't recognize every letter just yet, but it's great practice for the ones you do know, and you can start to get familiar with the shapes of the rest. Do you know the Thai word for washing clothes? You'll learn how to read it while adding a new tone in the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะสวัสดีค่ะดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the consonants กอไก่ดอเด็ก and บอใบไม้ Do you remember how to write them? In this lesson, you're going to learn 2 more consonants plus some short vowels. Ready to start? Then let's go! The first consonant in this lesson is ชอช้าง Do you recognize the name of this letter? ช้าง means elephant. This is a low-class consonant. As the initial sound of a syllable, it makes a sh sound. When it's the final sound of a syllable, ชอช้าง makes a T stop, just like ดอเด็ก. This means any syllable that ends in ชอช้าง will be a dead syllable. ชอช้าง may take some practice to write well, so let's try together. Start with a clockwise height, then add a small curve and line going down similar to a question mark. Then the line goes to the right and back up. When it gets to the top, you add a little tail that sticks out to the upper right. The other letter that we're going to learn looks very similar to ชอช้าง. This is another low-class consonant. It's called ซอโซ่ The word โซ่ means chain. ซอโซ่ makes an s sound like the S in sun when it's the initial sound of a syllable. And when it's the final sound of a syllable, it also makes a T stop, which is a dead sound. Can you spot the difference between these 2 letters? That's right, ซอโซ่ just has a small indentation at the top. Let's practice writing ซอโซ่ Follow along with your pen and paper. We've previously learned 2 long vowels. Do you remember them? They were สระอา and สระอี Now we're going to learn the short versions of these vowels. This is สระอะ It makes the sound a, which is similar to the a in hat. สระอะ is written as 2 small curls after a consonant. For example, we can write นอหนู and สระอะ to make นะ which is a particle used at the end of many sentences. Okay, your turn to write it. สระอะ One more word with this vowel and a trick to watch out for. How do you think you would write the word มัน which means it? Did you guess something like this? Actually, สระอะ is only written this way when it comes at the end of a syllable. When this vowel comes in the middle of a syllable, like in มัน we need to write สระอะ differently. In that case, we draw just one curl above and between the initial and final consonants. We have a special name for this symbol. It's called ไม้หันอากาศ Let's practice writing มัน มอม้า ไม้หันอากาศ นอหนู มัน The other short vowel is สระอิ It makes the sound i like the Y in happy. สระอิ goes above a consonant, just like the long vowel สระอี. The only difference is สระอี doesn't have a vertical line. Okay, now you write it. สระอี Now that we know some short vowels, we can add a new tone rule. This rule will be about syllables with dead endings. A dead syllable occurs when it ends with a short vowel or one of the stopping sounds of K, T, and P. So the tone rule for this lesson is low-class initial consonant plus dead ending with a short vowel equals high tone. The same pattern with a long vowel is different, so be careful. One example that we already had was na. It has an initial low-class consonant and it has a dead syllable consisting of a short vowel. So it is high tone. Na. High tone starts at a high pitch and rises very slightly. Na. How about the word nit, which means tiny? It is also high tone because it has an initial low-class consonant, has a dead ending, and the vowel is short. Now you write it. นอหนู สระอี ดอเด็ก นิด You learned 2 new consonants in this lesson. Let's do a quick quiz to see if you can tell them apart. Here are 2 words. One says ชัด which means clearly. The other says ซัก which means to wash clothes. Can you tell which is which? ซัก is the one on the top and ชัด is on the bottom. Did you get them right? Now it's time for Pratana's points. Say the name of each consonant, vowel, and other symbols as you practice writing words in Thai. If you get used to doing this, it will help to understand the answer whenever you ask somebody how a word is spelled. In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn how to write a very important Thai word. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉัน ปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the letters ชอช้าง and ซอโซ่ plus a pair of short vowels. Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn a pair of consonants, a pair of vowels, and a new tone rule. Ready to start? Then let's go! The 2 new consonants for this lesson are both low-class consonants. Can you list the other low-class consonants that we learned? They are มอม้า นอหนู งองู ยอยักษ์ วอแหวน ชอช้าง and ซอโซ่ The first new consonant for this lesson is พอพาน The word พาน means a type of round tray that is used for making offerings. The sound of พอพาน as the initial consonant of a syllable is like the P in panda. You should feel air coming out of your mouth when you make this sound. As a final consonant, พอพาน makes a dead sound as a P stop by closing your lips. พอพาน looks much like the letter W or an upside down letter M. Grab your pen and let's practice writing it together. Down, up, down, up. พอพาน See, it's easy. The next letter looks almost the same. This is for fun. Fun is the Thai word for tooth. And as you can see, the only difference is that for fun has the last line sticking out higher than the rest of the letter. The sound of for fun as an initial consonant of a syllable is f, like the F in family. But as a final consonant, for fun also makes a dead P stop sound. Let's write it together. Start with the head, go down, up, and extend the last line higher. You know that fun means tooth, and you already know all the letters to write it. But do you know what tone fun is? That's right, it's mid-tone, because it has a low-class consonant with a live ending. Start with for fun. Add ไม้หันอากาศ above, then นอหนู fun. Okay, Now let's learn a new pair of vowels. Sara'u and sara'u. They both make the sound u like the O's in boot. The difference is sara'u is short and sara'u is long. Let's practice writing these two new vowels together. Sara'u. Sara'u. These two vowels are written under a consonant, like in the word do, to watch. This word has a mid-tone. ดอเด็ก สระอู do. Here's the word ชุด which means a set or outfit. สระอู is just a little circle with a line coming down. What's the tone of ชุด? It's a low-class consonant with a dead syllable and a short vowel that makes it high tone. Okay, now you write it. Start with ชอช้าง then สระอู and ดอเด็ก ชุด. You've done a lot of writing today. Now let's move on to a new tone rule. Low-class initial consonant plus dead syllable with a long vowel equals falling tone. Do you know how to say very in Thai? It's the word มาก and it is said with a falling tone because of this rule. A falling tone begins with a relatively high pitch that drops sharply. Listen carefully. มาก Let's see how to write this word. มอม้า สระอา กอไก่ มาก So, มอม้า is a low-class consonant. กอไก่ makes the ending dead, and สระอา is a long vowel. According to the tone rule you just learned, it's a falling tone. Let's try one more word. พูด is the verb to speak. Here again we have low class with a dead ending and a long vowel. So, พูด is also falling tone. Okay, one last word to write for this lesson. พอพาน สระอู ดอเด็ก พูด. Now it's time for Prathana's points. Flashcards are a great way to practice reading. You can make a set of cards using all the words you've learned so far. Put just the Thai script on one side and have the reading and meaning written on the other. Make sure to include the tones too, so that you get used to reading the tone based on the spelling of the word. Thai has more vowel sounds than English, and in the next ตัวอักษร Thai Made Easy lesson, you'll learn how to write a Thai vowel that the English alphabet just can't do justice to. See you there! สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉัน ปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษร Thai Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the letters พอพาน and ฟอฟัน plus a pair of vowels. Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn about another low-class consonant and a pair of vowels that we don't have in English. Ready to start? Then let's go! The new letter for this lesson is คอควาย The word ควาย means water buffalo, and you're sure to come across many of them in Thailand. คอควาย makes the sound k when it's the initial consonant in a syllable. It sounds like the letter K in kite or the C in cup. As a final consonant, คอควาย makes a K stop, a dead sound. This is the same sound that กอไก่ makes as a final consonant. Okay, start with the head in the middle, draw a line going down, then arch over the top and back down on the right. Fairly simple, right? Don't confuse คอควาย with ดอเด็ก. Can you see the difference between these two letters? It all starts with the direction of the head. คอควาย has a head written counterclockwise, but ดอเด็ก has a head written clockwise. Because of this, the line that points downwards for each letter is drawn at different angles. ดอเด็ก has a wider angle at the bottom because the line comes down from the opposite side of the head. Do you remember all the vowels that we already learned? We can put them into pairs of short and long vowels with similar sounds. A, I, U. Now let's take a look at one more pair. They are สระอึ and สระอือ. These vowel sounds don't exist in English, so it may take some practice for you to get them right. The sound is a little bit like the sound that you get when you try to make the sound with the corners of your mouth spread wide apart. Both of these vowels are written above a consonant. To write สระอึ you start by making the shape of สระอี then you add a tiny clockwise circle. For สระอือ you start by writing it like the vowel สระอี then you add an extra vertical line to the left of the first one. Now that you know how to write สระอึ and สระอือ we can use them to write many new words. Here's the word นึก which means to consider. We have นอหนู then สระอึ above the consonant, and finally กอไก่. Can you guess the tone of this word? Well, what's the rule? นึก has an initial low-class consonant and a final stop that makes it a dead syllable, plus a short vowel that makes it a high tone. นึก นอหนู สระอึ กอไก่ นึก นึก had a high tone, but do you remember the rule for low-class consonants with dead endings and long vowels? They have a falling tone. One example is the word พืช which means vegetation. Remember that ชอช้าง makes the same T-stop sound as a final consonant, just like the letter ดอเด็ก. Okay, your turn. พอพาน สระอือ ชอช้าง พืช. Now let's try a word using the letter คอควาย that we learned in this lesson. คืน means to return. คืน is mid-tone because it has a low-class consonant and a live ending. คอควาย สระอือ นอหนู คืน. When สระอือ is not followed by a consonant, we need to write it differently. We'll use the word มือ to demonstrate this. This word means hand, and we write it using มอม้า then สระอือ above it. Then to the right, we draw another letter called ออ่าง. You'll learn more about ออ่าง in another lesson. For now, all you need to remember is that if สระอือ has no consonant following it, then we need to write ออ่าง instead. This is a mid-tone word because it's a low-class initial consonant and has a live syllable ending. มอม้า สระอือ ออ่าง มือ. Now it's time for ปรารถนา points. Many modern typefaces used in advertisements and magazines don't include the heads of the letters. The first time you see them, they might be hard to read and you may be confused by similar-looking letters. But remember that the shape of many letters is influenced by the direction of the head, clockwise or counterclockwise. For example, the difference in the shapes of คอควาย and ดอเด็ก. Even when the head is no longer shown, it still gives each letter a certain shape. That's how we know which is which. Have you ever heard the Thai word เทพ? In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn what it means and most importantly, how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉัน ปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the letterคอควาย and the vowels สระอึ and สระอือ Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn about two low-class consonants and a pair of vowels. The first low-class consonant of this lesson is ทอทหาร The word ทหาร means soldier. The sound of ทอทหาร when it's an initial letter is t, like the T in the word top. There should be a puff of air coming out of your mouth when you make this sound. When it's the final consonant in a syllable, ทอทหาร makes a T stop just like ดอเด็ก ทอทหาร looks like the shape of a hill. So you can remember ทอทหาร by thinking of a soldier standing on top of a hill. Let's write ทอทหาร together. Start with the head, then draw a line going down. Now make an arch going to the right. ทอทหาร The second low-class consonant of this lesson is ฮอนกฮูก Do you know which animal it's named after? นกฮูก is Thai for owl. Maybe you didn't know that we have owls in Thailand too. ฮอนกฮูก makes a h sound just like the H in hoot. This letter is only used as an initial sound in a syllable, never as a final sound. Maybe you can remember ฮอนกฮูก because it looks a little like the shape of an owl's eye. And owls make the sound hoot hoot, which starts with an H. Let's practice writing ฮอนกฮูก together. Start with the head, curl around to the top, and add a loop. ฮอนกฮูก Now let's learn some new vowels. First we have สระเอ This is a long vowel that makes the sound A like the AY in gray. Remember that some vowels are written above, below, in front, or behind a consonant. สระเอ is one that is written in front of a consonant. This might seem strange at first, but with a little practice, you'll get used to reading it like this. Here's the word เฮง which means to be fortunate. Do you know the tone? เฮง has a low-class consonant with a live syllable ending, so it's mid-tone. สระเอ ฮอนกฮูก งองู เฮง Here's another word. Can you read it? It's เทพ เทพ means an angel. เทพ is a falling tone. Now let's write it. สระเอ ทอทหาร พอพาน เทพ Remember that most vowels come in long and short pairs. The shorter version of สระเอ is สระเอ It makes the sound e like the E in the word red. สระเอ can be written two different ways depending on whether or not there is a consonant following it. The basic way is to write สระเอ followed by a consonant and then สระอะ For example, this is the word เฟะ which means rotten. สระเอ ฟอฟัน สระอะ เฟะ When there is a consonant following สระเอ we have to write it differently. Instead of writing สระอะ after the consonant, we'll write a different symbol above the consonant. This little symbol is called ไม้ไต่คู It has the same shape as the number 8 in Thai. You write it as a squiggly line that starts with the head on the right-hand side. Here's the word เช็ค which has the same meaning as the English noun check. Above ชอช้าง we'll write ไม้ไต่คูสระเอ ชอช้าง ไม้ไต่คู คอควาย เช็ค Now it's time for Pratana's points. As you can see from this lesson, Thai is not read in a straight line from left to right. You always need to look around the consonants to see which ones have vowels attached to them. There is usually no space between words in Thai, so you have to get used to looking for groups of consonants and vowels that make syllables. When you can spot the syllables, it's much easier to tell where one word stops and the next word starts. Do you know the Thai word for cat? In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the letters ทอทหาร and ฮอนกฮูก and the vowels สระเอะ and สระเอ Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn about two low-class consonants and a pair of vowels. The first new letter is รอเรือ The word เรือ means boat. The sound of รอเรือ as an initial consonant is r, like the double R in burrito when spoken by a native Spanish speaker. In other words, this is an R sound with a trill. Not everyone can make this sound easily, but you can get better with practice. When รอเรือ is the final consonant in a syllable, it makes the sound just like นอหนู. You might remember that this is one of the life ending sounds. Let's practice writing รอเรือ together. Start with the head at the bottom, curve up to the left, and hook back to the right. รอเรือ The next letter is also another low-class consonant. It's called ลอลิง Do you know which animal ling is? It's a monkey. The sound of ลอลิง as an initial consonant is l, like the L in little. When it's the final consonant in a syllable, ลอลิง also makes an sound just like รอเรือ did. What's great about this consonant is it actually looks like a monkey. So when you write ลอลิง think of a little monkey with a curved tail sticking up. Let's write ลอลิง together. Start with the head, a small curve to the right, and a larger curve to the left. ลอลิง Take a look at this word written using ลอลิง This is actually a word from English. Can you recognize it? It's the word bill, but we read it in Thai as bin. Thai doesn't naturally have the L sound at the end of a syllable, so it changes to sound like the letter N. บอใบไม้ สระอี ลอลิง บิน Now, let's quickly review the vowel pair that we learned in the last lesson. They were สระเอะ and สระเอ. We can see that they are the same except for the สระอะ written at the end to indicate a short vowel. Most of the remaining vowel pairs that we'll be learning follow the same pattern. The long and short versions will look the same except for สระอะ added to the end of the short vowel. The two new vowels in this lesson are สระแอะ and สระแอ. They are written with a double สระเอ before the consonant. Then, for the short vowel, สระอะ is added after the consonant. The sound of สระแอะ and สระแอ is like the A in cat. Let's write this. สระแอะ สระแอ. One very common word that is written using สระแอะ is และ which means and. และ is a high tone because it has an initial low-class consonant with a short vowel and a dead stop. A word using the long vowel สระแอ is แรง which means power. แรง has a low-class consonant and a live ending, so it is pronounced mid-tone. Let's write both of these words. สระแอ ลอลิง สระอะ และ and สระแอ รอเรือ and งองู แรง One last word for this lesson. Can you read it? The first thing written on the left is สระแอ but we need to look to the right of that to find the initial consonant. In this word, the initial consonant is มอม้า The vowel sound air gets attached to it, so then we have แม Finally, the letter วอแหวน comes at the end. It makes a W or O sound that blends with the vowel to give us the word แมว If you think แมว sounds like the noise a cat makes, that's because แมว means cat in Thai. Let's write cat. สระแอ มอม้า วอแหวน แมว Now it's time for Pratana's points. Many modern Thai fonts used in print media alter the shapes of some letters, often to mimic the shape of an English letter. If you're trying to read something in Thai and you see what looks like the letter S, it is actually the letter รอเรือ รอเรือ might also look a little like the letter S in people's handwriting because it's faster to write it that way. Do you know the Thai word for year? In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn how to say it and most of all, how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉัน ปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the letters รอเรือ and ลอลิง and the vowels สระแอะ and สระแอ Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn about 3 middle-class consonants and a pair of vowels. The 3 consonants you'll learn in this lesson are middle-class consonants. So far, you've learned 3 other middle-class consonants, and the rest have been low-class consonants. Do you remember which 3 of these letters were middle-class? กอไก่ ดอเด็ก and บอใบไม้ The first new middle-class consonant of this lesson is จอจาน This letter is named after the word จาน which means plate or dish. When จอจาน is the initial consonant, it makes the sound จ similar to the J in jump. When จอจาน is the final consonant, its sound changes to become a T-stop, just like the letter ดอเด็ก Get your pen ready and let's practice writing จอจาน Start with a clockwise head in the middle and make the line go down to the right, then it hooks back up and curves over to the left. จอจาน Here's the next middle-class consonant. It's called ต่อเต่า The word เต่า means turtle. The sound ต่อเต่า makes as an initial consonant is ต which is between an English D and T. In technical terms, the sound of ต่อเต่า is an unaspirated T. As a final consonant, it also makes a T stop. ต่อเต่า is written almost exactly the same as ดอเด็ก The only difference is that ต่อเต่า has a small indentation at the top of the bump. Maybe you can think of a turtle with a bumpy shell to remember which is which. Let's write ต่อเต่า together. A clockwise head, down to the left, up to the top, indentation, and down on the right side. ต่อเต่า The last consonant of this lesson is ปอปลา The word ปลา means fish. The sound of ปอปลา as an initial consonant is ป which is in the middle between a regular English B and P. We can also call this an unaspirated P. As a final consonant, ปอปลา makes a P stop, which is simply done by closing your lips. You're probably already thinking that ปอปลา looks a lot like the letter บอใบไม้ As you can see, the only difference is that the line on the right side of ปอปลา extends higher than the head. Let's practice writing ปอปลา together. It's very easy. Start at the head and then draw 3 straight lines. ปอปลา Let's learn a new vowel pair to write a couple more words. This is sarao and sarao. They make the vowel sound O like the O in go. Can you guess by looking at them which one is a long vowel and which is a short vowel? That's right, the short vowel is this one, sarao. As you can see, sarao is written to the left of the initial consonant. Here is an example of a word written with sarao. This is the word โจร which means a thief or robber. We have to write sarao first, then the initial consonant จอจาน and after that the final consonant รอเรือ Remember that รอเรือ sounds like the letter N when it's a final consonant. sarao จอจาน and รอเรือ โจร When the short vowel sarao is followed by a final consonant, it will be unwritten. For example, this is the word บน which means above or on. As you can see, the only letters written are the initial consonant บอใบไม้ and the final consonant นอหนู The vowel is not written. So you just have to remember that a word containing only two consonants and nothing else will have a short vowel o in the middle. Now it's time for Pratana's points. If you're in Thailand, one way to practice reading is to look at the Thai names of products when you go shopping. Often you already know the name of the product or the brand, which can make it easier to read the whole word. For example, see if you can read the label on a Thai bottle of Coke. You'll notice that the name Coke is written using a stylish version of the sarao that we learned in this lesson. Do you know how to ask the question who in Thai? In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn how to say it and most importantly, how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the letters จอจาน ต่อเต่า and ปอปลา Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn about 3 more vowels plus words with consonant clusters. First, let's look at a new vowel. It's called sarao. It makes the vowel sound ow, like the OW in how. Sarao is a short vowel, but it counts as a long vowel for determining the tone. To write sarao, all you have to do is write sarae before the consonant and saraa after the consonant. Take a look at this word. Can you read it? The initial consonant is มอม้า and we write sarao with sarae before and saraa after the consonant. So this word is เมา which means drunk. Sarao is a live syllable ending. So เมา is said with a mid-tone. Let's practice writing it. sarae มอม้า saraa เมา Next, let's take a look at a new pair of vowels. These two symbols are called สระไอไม้มาลาย and สระไอไม้ม้วน They both make the short vowel sound I, like the I in high. Just like สระเอา สระไอ is a short vowel, but it counts as a live syllable ending for determining the tone. Both versions of สระไอ are written to the left of a consonant. Let's write these. สระไอไม้มาลาย is used more often. Start with a clockwise head at the bottom, draw a tall vertical line, then finish with a little zigzag at the top. สระไอไม้มาลายสระไอไม้ม้วน is only used in a handful of words. You start writing it the same way, but at the top you make a curl. สระไอไม้ม้วน We can use สระไอ to write the word ไกล which means far. ไกล has an initial consonant cluster. กอไก่ and ลอลิง blend together to make the sound gl, like the gl in the word glue. So the vowel sound สระไอ comes after both of the consonants. There are only 3 letters that make consonant clusters when they follow other consonants. These are รอเรือ ลอลิง and วอแหวน This is a big difference from English, which can make clusters from just about any combination of consonants. Take a look at the word ใคร This is the question word who. The 2 letters คอควาย and รอเรือ combine to make an initial consonant cluster with the sound kr, like the cr in crash. Let's write those 2 words. สระไอไม้มาลาย กอไก่ ลอลิง ไกล and สระไอไม้ม้วน รอเรือ ใคร This is a good spot to introduce a new symbol. It's called ไม้ยมก This symbol is used to show that a word should be repeated. For example, if we add ไม้ยมก to the end of ใคร which means who, it makes ใครใคร which means anyone. Let's try writing it together. สระไอไม้ม้วน คอควาย รอเรือ ไม้ยมก That makes ใครใคร Now it's time for ปรารถนา points. There are only 20 words in Thai that use สระไอไม้ม้วน but some of them are very common words, so you'll use it often. This means you'll just have to memorize which words use it. When you're not sure about how to spell a word, it is better to try writing it from memory first and then check afterwards to see if you've spelled it right. This gives your brain a chance to exercise its power of recall instead of depending on a dictionary all the time. Can you write the Thai word for island? First, you'll need a new consonant. In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn that and much more. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the vowels สระไอไม้มาลาย สระไอไม้ม้วน and สระเอา Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn about a very special middle-class consonant, which is usually a silent letter.This is the letter ang, which we introduced briefly in lesson 6. The word ang means basin. Ang is a middle-class consonant, but it has no sound as the initial consonant of a syllable. We only use it to start a syllable when we need to have a vowel for the initial sound. All the vowels in Thai need to be written attached to a consonant. But if a word begins with a vowel sound instead of a consonant sound,we need to have a silent consonant that the vowel can attach to. So, ang is a dummy consonant that can just be used as a placeholder to give an initial vowel a place to go. It's easy to write ang. We start with a counterclockwise head and just continue into a counterclockwise curl. Ang. This is the word ao, is the verb to take. As you can see, it has ang as the initial consonant.The vowel is สระเอา which is written with สระเอ before the consonant and สระอา after the consonant. Ang makes no sound in this word. So all we have is the vowel ao. Now look at this word. Do you think you can read it? The initial consonant isออ่าง which makes no sound. Then we have the vowel สระอี written above. The final consonant is กอไก่ which makes a K-stop final sound. So this word is pronounced อีก The word อีก means again. Did you notice the tone when I say อีก? It's a low tone. We didn't have the tone rule for this type of word yet, so let's learn it now. Middle class initial consonant plus dead ending equals low tone. Remember, dead endings are short vowels or one of the three stopping sounds K, T, or P. So ออ่าง doesn't make any sound when it's a placeholder consonant like this, but it can also be used as a vowel, and it will make sound then. When ออ่าง is used as a vowel, it's called สระอ It makes the long vowel sound or like the AW in saw. You can tell that ออ่าง is acting like a vowel when it follows a consonant and doesn't have another vowel attached to it. For example, this is the word ตอบ which means to answer. The initial consonant is ต่อเต่า It is followed by ออ่าง acting as สระอ and the final consonant is บอใบไม้ which makes a P-stop dead syllable final. ตอบ follows the same tone rule we just learned. Middle class consonants with a dead syllable form a low tone. Let's practice writing ตอบ together. ต่อเต่า ออ่าง บอใบไม้ ตอบ There is a short version of สระอ called สระอ It looks totally different from the long version of the vowel, so look carefully to remember all of its parts. สระอ is written with สระเอ in front of the consonant. Then it has สระอา and สระอะ after the consonant. One word you will surely hear สระอ in is the word เกาะ which means island. เกาะ also follows the same tone rule we just learned. กอไก่ is a middle class initial consonant, and สระอ is a short vowel that gives us a dead syllable. So เกาะ is low tone. Okay, now you write island. สระเอ กอไก่ สระอา สระอะ เกาะ Now you can write the name of one of Thailand's most famous tourist destinations, เกาะพีพี Let's practice writing it together. Last one for this lesson. Write PP Island. สระเอ กอไก่ สระอา สระอะ makes เกาะ for the first syllable. Then พอพาน สระอี makes P, and another พอพาน สระอี makes P again. เกาะ PP. If you're wondering why we aren't using the mayamok to duplicate the P, it's because we don't usually use it for names. Now it's time for Prathana's points. In Thailand, you'll hear over 90% of tourists pronouncing the word เกาะ incorrectly. เกาะ is usually written in English letters as K-O-H, so many foreigners end up saying ko instead of เกาะ. After learning to read Thai, you'll notice many more common words that foreigners usually pronounce incorrectly. And it's all because of the difficulty in representing Thai sounds with only the Roman alphabet. So, when you learn to read Thai, you can get around easier because you can pronounce names of places so that Thai people will understand you easily. You're learning to write in Thai, but can you write the word right in Thai? In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn the verb to write, and of course, how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned about ang, sara o, and sara o. Do you remember the difference? In this lesson, you're going to learn about high-class consonants. The first high-class consonant to learn is kho kai. It is named after the word kai, which means egg. The sound of kho kai as an initial consonant is k, and as a final consonant, it makes a K stop. Do you remember the letter kho kwai? Both letters, kho kai and kho kwai, make the same sound. The only difference is that kho kai is a high-class consonant and kho kwai was a low-class consonant. Kho kai looks almost the same as the letter chó cháng that we learned in lesson 4. The only difference is kho kai doesn't have the tail sticking out on top. Maybe you can remember that kai is named for the word egg, and eggs don't have tails. Let's practice writing kho kai. Start at the head, go down, and then come back up on the right side. Speaking of chó cháng, the next consonant makes the same sound. The name of this letter is chó chinh. It's named after the word ching, which means small cymbals. Chó chinh makes the sound sh as an initial consonant and a T stop as a final consonant, just like chó cháng. The difference is chó chinh is a high-class consonant and chó cháng is a low-class consonant. To write chó chinh, it is a little bit like writing a short letter nõ nũ with a tail on top. Start with a clockwise head at about mid-height, draw a line down to the corner, then go across and make a loop in the bottom right corner. Then draw a line going up and make the line curve back to the left once it gets above the head. Chó chinh. We can use chó chinh to write the word chắn, which means I or me. The initial consonant is chó chinh. The vowel sound is sara a, which we write usingไม้หันอากาศ, because there is a final consonant. And nõ nũ is that final consonant. Let's write it together. ชอชิง ไม้หันอากาศ นอหนู ฉัน ฉัน is our first word using a high-class consonant, so we need to learn a new tone rule for this type of letter. The rule is high-class initial consonants plus live ending equals rising tone. We can use the same rule to make a word using ขอไข่ This is the word ขา which means leg. ขา just has two parts. The initial consonant is ขอไข่ and it has the long vowel สระอา So once again, a high-class consonant with a live syllable ending results in a rising tone. ขา Now let's learn a new vowel pair. They are called สระเอีย and สระเอีย. The vowel sound they make is ia, like the ia at the end of the phrase mamma mia. The long vowel sara-ia is used much more often, so let's focus on it. You can see that it has three parts. Sara-e is written to the left of the consonant, sara-i is written above the consonant, and yõ-ยักษ์ is written after the consonant. If we wanted to make it a short vowel, then we can add sara-a after the yõ-ยักษ์ to change it into sara-ia. We can use sara-ia to write the word เขียน which means to write. เขียน has ขอไข่ as the initial consonant. ขอไข่ is surrounded on three sides by the parts making up the vowel sound สระเอีย and then it has นอหนู as the final consonant. เขียน is said with a rising tone because it has a high-class consonant and a live syllable ending. Let's write เขียน together. สระเอ ขอไข่ สระอี ยอยักษ์ นอหนู เขียน Now it's time for Pratana's points. The two new consonants in this lesson made the same sounds as other letters that you already learned. You have noticed that many Thai letters make the same sounds as other letters. The reason for this is that the Thai alphabet is based on the Sanskrit alphabet from India. All of the letters originally represented different sounds, but many sounds were not natural for Thai speakers to make. So a lot of letters ended up changing pronunciation to match the sounds that the Thai language used. When you see a word using one of the more uncommon Thai letters, it is most likely a vocabulary word that came from an Indian language. Have you ever seen statues of giants from a Thai temple? Do you know what they're called? In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn that word and how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะสวัสดีค่ะดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the letters ขอไข่ and ชอชิง and the vowels สระเอีย and สระเอีย Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn about 3 high-class consonants plus another tone rule. You're learning 3 new high-class consonants, but they all make the same sound. From left to right, they are สอศาลา สอฤาษี and สอเสือ As an initial consonant, they make the sound of the letter S, and as final consonants, they make a T-stop. The word ศาลา means pavilion, ฤาษี is a hermit, and เสือ means tiger. As you can see, all of these letters look like other letters with just one extra line added. สอศาลา looks like คอควาย so we sometimes call it สอคอศาลา สอฤาษี looks like บอใบไม้ so we sometimes call it สอบอฤาษี สอเสือ looks like ลอลิง but we always call it สอเสือ Of these 3 letters, you'll see สอเสือ the most. To write these 3 letters properly, you should pick up your pen from the paper before the last stroke. Here is สอศาลา Now, สอฤาษี And last, we have สอเสือ But when Thai people write, they often don't pick up the pen between strokes, so each letter gets written with one continuous line, like this. สอศาลา สอฤาษี สอเสือ Let's use these new letters to write some words. Here's the word ศีล which means moral precept. It has สอศาลา as an initial consonant, then the long vowel สระอี is written above. The final consonant is ลอลิง which makes a sound like the letter N in this position. ศีล is said with a rising tone because it has a high-class consonant with a live syllable ending. Your turn. สอศาลา สระอี ลอลิง ศีล For the next word, we need to learn a new symbol. This is called Garan. We write Garan above a consonant to indicate that it is a silent letter. For example, here's the word สัตว์ which means animal. The initial consonant is สอเสือ which makes an S sound. The vowel is สระอะ which is shown with the symbol ไม้หันอากาศ And the final consonant of the syllable is ต่อเต่า which makes a T-stop. Then, at the end of the word is the letter วอแหวน with การัน written above it. This means วอแหวน doesn't make any sound in this word. So why write that letter at all? We do it to preserve the original spelling of a loan word from another language that gets pronounced differently in Thai. Let's write it together. สอเสือ ไม้หันอากาศ ต่อเต่า วอแหวน การัน สัตว์ The word สัตว์ also gives us a new tone rule. High-class initial consonant plus dead ending equals low tone. Here's another word that uses Garan. See if you can figure out how to read it. The initial consonant is Yoyak, which makes a sound like the letter Y. The vowel is Sara'a, written with ไม้หันอากาศ And the final consonant is Gokai, which makes a K stop. At the end, we have Saurasi, which makes no sound because it has Garan above it. So this word is Yak, which is a giant. Maybe you've seen statues of Yak at a Thai temple. Yak is high tone because it has a low class consonant and a dead syllable with a short vowel. Yoyak, Sara'a, written with ไม้หันอากาศ กอไก่ สอฤาษี with a Garan, Yak. Let's learn a new pair of vowels to write a few more new words. Here are the vowels Sara'e and Sara'e. They make the vowel sound which is a little bit like the ER in her, only said with a more relaxed throat. When there is no final consonant, Sara'e is written using Sara'e before the initial consonant and O'ang after it. To make it a short vowel, we add Sara'a to the end to give us Sara'e. Okay, let's write these two vowels. Sara'e. Sara'e. One word that uses the short vowel is Ye, which means many. It has the initial consonant Yoyak and Sara'e is written by putting Sara'e before the consonant. Then O'ang and Sara'a are written after it. Sara'e, Yoyak, O'ang, Sara'a, Ye. Sara'e is often used to represent the sound of the letters ER in loanwords from English. For example, here's the word ber, which is shortened from the English word number. The initial consonant is บอใบไม้ which makes a B sound. Sara'e is written before the consonant, and O'ang is written after it to make the vowel Sara'e. Finally, the letter รอเรือ is included, along with a Garan above it. It is just there to show you that the original spelling of this word in English used the letter R. Let's write ber together. Sara'e, บอใบไม้ ออ่าง รอเรือ Garan, ber. In this word, รอเรือ doesn't count as a final consonant because it has Garan above it. But in other words that have Sara'e with a final consonant, we have to write Sara'e differently. When there's a final consonant after Sara'e, it is written using Sara'e and Sara'i. For example, here's the word serve, which comes from the English verb to serve. The initial consonant is สอเสือ which makes an S sound. Sara'e and Sara'i are written to the left and above it to make the vowel Sara'e. The letter R in the English word serve doesn't get pronounced in Thai, so we write รอเรือ with Garan above it, just to indicate what the original spelling was. Finally, for fun is used in place of the letter V because there is no Thai letter that makes a V sound. But since for fun makes a P stop for a final sound, we pronounce this serve instead of serve. Let's write serve together. Sara'e, สอเสือ Sara'i, รอเรือ Garan, for fun. Serve. Serve is said with a low tone because of the same tone rule we had earlier. High-class initial consonants with dead syllable endings result in a low tone. Now it's time for ปรารถนา points. You can easily spot loan words in Thai by looking for Garan. We like to make words shorter, so many foreign loan words have Garan written above a letter that we don't pronounce in Thai. If you see a word in Thai with garan that doesn't look like an English word, then there is a very good chance that it came from an Indian language. Thai people like to eat snacks. Do you know the word for snack in Thai? In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn how to say it and of course how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the letters สอศาลา สอฤาษี and สอเสือ Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn about two high-class consonants and two vowels. The two new consonants for this lesson look very similar to a pair of consonants that we already learned. Here are ผอพึ่ง and ฝอฝา The word พึ่ง means bee and ฝา means a lid or cover. As you can see, ผอพึ่ง and ฝอฝา look almost the same as พอพาน and ฟอฟัน. The only difference is the direction that the heads are written. ผอพึ่ง and ฝอฝา have counterclockwise heads, which lifts the head inside the letter. But พอพาน and ฟอฟัน have clockwise heads, which makes the head stick outside the letter. This pair of letters make the same sounds as their cousins. ผอพึ่ง and พอพาน both make an initial sound p, like the P in pig, and ฝอฝา and ฟอฟันboth make the sound f, like the F in fan. All four letters make a P stop as a final consonant. Let's practice writing both new letters using counterclockwise heads for both. Here is ผอพึ่ง and then ฝอฝา We can use ฝอฝา to write the word ฝน which means rain. ฝอฝา is the initial consonant and นอหนู is the final consonant. Remember the rule about สระโอ from lesson 9? A word containing only two consonants and nothing else will have the short vowel sound สระโอ but the สระโอ itself isn't written. So when writing it, you just have ฝอฝา and นอหนู The สระโอ is unwritten. ฝน ฝน is a rising tone because we have a high class initial with a live syllable ending. You can remember that the missing vowel in words with a single syllable, such as ฝน will be สระโอ. However, words with more than one syllable will often have สระอะ as an unwritten syllable. For example, here's the word ผนัง which means wall. In this case, we can see that there is a vowel symbol ไม้หันอากาศ written above the second consonant นอหนู. This shows us that นอหนู has to be treated as an initial consonant for a syllable. The syllable has the short vowel sound สระอะ written with ไม้หันอากาศ and the final sound เงะ coming from the consonant งองู. But that leaves the consonant ผอพึ่ง all by itself in the front. Thai consonants need some vowel sound to make a noise. So we give ผอพึ่ง a short vowel sound สระอะ right after it. The first syllable ผะ is a low tone because it has a high class initial consonant with a short vowel to make a dead ending. Then what happens is the high class consonant gives its tone quality to the letter that follows it. This is because there was no written vowel in the middle. So in this case, นอหนู will act like a high class consonant. The syllable has a live ending, so it is said with a rising tone. ผนัง. Something similar happens in the word kanom, which means snack. This word is a little bit more tricky because it has two unwritten vowels. There is an unwritten sara after kho kai, and there is an unwritten sara o between nonu and mo ma. The first syllable ka is low tone, and the second syllable nom is rising tone because the high class consonant kho kai has an effect on both syllables. Do you remember the sound of this syllable? It's sara. The next pair of vowels we're going to learn sound like a combination of sara and sara. These are called sara. Sara. Sara is written using sara before the consonant, sara above the consonant, and o after the consonant. The short vowel sara can be written by adding sara onto the end of this. Let's write them. Sara sara We can use sara to write the word เมือง which means city or country. The initial consonant is mo ma, which makes a sound like the letter M. It has the vowel sara written around it, and the final consonant is ngôงู. Let's practice writing เมือง together. สระเอ มอม้า สระออ่าง งองู เมือง เมือง is said with a mid-tone because it has a low-class initial consonant and a live syllable ending. Now it's time for Pratana's points. It may take some time in the beginning to figure out where unwritten vowels should go, especially with long words, but after a while you begin to notice patterns in words that have similar spellings. So the more you practice reading, the easier it will become to read new words that you come across. Do you know which animal is called หมี in Thai? In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn what it means and most of all how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the letters ผอผึ้ง and ฝอฝา and the vowels สระเอือ and สระเอือ Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn about a very important high-class consonant that is used to change the class of other consonants. This is the letter หอหีบ. It's named after the word หีบ, which means trunk or chest. หอหีบ makes the sound h as an initial consonant, like the H in hello. It isn't used as a final consonant. หอหีบ looks a little bit like a capital letter H, so that might help you associate its shape with its sound. Let's practice writing หอหีบ. Get out your pen and follow along. Start with the head, go down, up diagonally, make a loop, and down. หอหีบ. Let's learn a new pair of vowels to make a word with หอหีบ. These are the vowels สระอัว and สระอัว. They make the vowel sound อัว, which is like a combination of u and a. When it has no final consonant following it, สระอัว is written using ไม้หันอากาศ over the consonant and วอแหวน to the right of it. We can make it into the short vowel สระอัว by also adding สระอะ to the right of that. Okay, time to write them. สระอัว สระอัว Here's the word หัว which means head. It is written with หอหีบ as the initial consonant. Then it has ไม้หันอากาศ and วอแหวน making up the vowel สระอัว หอหีบ ไม้หันอากาศ and วอแหวน to make สระอัว หัว หัว is said with a rising tone because it has a high class initial consonant with a live syllable ending. สระอัว has to be written differently when it has a final consonant following it. In that case, we just write it as the letter วอแหวน sandwiched between the initial and final consonants. For example, here's the word สวน which means garden. It has the initial consonant สอเสือ the vowel สระอัว written using วอแหวน and the final consonant นอหนู Okay, your turn. สอเสือ สระอัว using วอแหวน นอหนู สวน สวน has a rising tone because it has a high class initial consonant combined with a live syllable ending. Let's look at หอหีบ again because it's a very important letter. It can also be used to make low-class consonants act like high-class consonants. In this case, it will act like a silent letter that makes the next letter follow the tone rules for high-class initial consonants. To do this, we put it right in front of an initial low-class consonant. For example, here's the word หมี which means bear. It starts with หอหีบ but the real initial consonant is มอม้า The word หมี is said with a rising tone, but มอม้า is a low-class consonant. And there is no tone rule that lets low-class consonants make a rising tone on their own. So it has to team up with a silent หอหีบ to get the job done. Let's write หมี together. Start with a silent หอหีบ then มอม้า and the vowel sound สระอี หมี There's one other tone besides the rising tone that low-class consonants can't make on their own. Do you know which one it is? Let's review the tone rules to find out. The tone rules for syllables with low-class initial consonants are: with a live ending, it's a mid-tone. With a dead ending and short vowel, it's a high tone. And with a dead ending and long vowel, it's a falling tone. So on their own, low-class consonants can't make rising tone or low tone. But with the help of หอหีบ they can make both tones. Here is an example of หอหีบ helping to make a low tone. This is the word หลอด which means straw. The initial consonant is ลอลิง which makes a sound like the letter L. ออ่าง is acting as the vowel สระอ and the final consonant ดอเด็ก is making a T stop, which is a dead ending. If we didn't have หอหีบ, the word would be a falling tone. But the silent หอหีบ out front makes ลอลิง act like a high-class consonant. Then we follow the rule. High-class initial consonant with a dead ending makes a low tone. So, หลอด is said with a low tone. One last word to write this lesson. หอหีบ ลอลิง ออ่าง ดอเด็ก หลอด Now it's time for Pratana's points. Thai has many compound words that are made up of two or more short words. Because we don't put space between words, you might think a compound word is actually two short words that mean something else. For example, ผี means ghost and เสื้อ means shirt. But together, ผีเสื้อ doesn't mean ghost shirt. It means butterfly. So if you think you know all the words in a sentence, but it doesn't seem to make sense, check with a Thai dictionary to see if any of the words are forming a compound word that you didn't know about. Have you ever heard the Thai word ภูเขา? In the next ตัวอักษร Thai Made Easy lesson, you'll learn what it means and most of all, how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย made easy the fastest easiest and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson you learned the letter หอหีบ and the vowels สระอัว and สระอัว Do you remember how to write them all? Let's review them. In this lesson, you're going to learn about 4 more low-class consonants and 1 vowel. Ready to start? Then let's go! Here's the letter พอสำเภา The word สำเภา means a Chinese junk. For those of you who don't know, that is a type of Chinese chip. As an initial consonant, พอสำเภา makes the sound p, like the P in pink. As a final consonant, พอสำเภา makes a P stop. If you look at the shape of พอสำเภา you'll notice that it contains the shape of the letter กอไก่ The only difference is that พอสำเภา has a head. This is a counterclockwise head that sticks out to the left side of the letter. Let's practice writing พอสำเภา together. Have you got your pen ready? Okay. Start with the head at the bottom, then make the shape of กอไก่ We can use พอสำเภา to write the word ภูเขา which means mountain. ภูเขา has 2 syllables. The first syllable has the initial consonant พอสำเภา with a long vowel สระอู written below. The second syllable has the initial consonant ขอไข่ with the vowel สระเอา The first syllable is mid-tone and the second syllable has a rising tone ภูเขา Let's write it together. พอสำเภา สระอู สระเอ ขอไข่ สระอา ภูเขา The second low-class consonant for this lesson is called ทอทง The word ทง means flag. As an initial consonant, ทอทง makes an aspirated T sound like the T in tennis. As a final consonant, ทอทง makes a T stop. The first thing you might notice about ทอทง is that it doesn't have a head. There are only 2 Thai consonants that don't have heads, กอไก่ and ทอทง You might also notice that the upper portion of ทอทง is very similar to รอเรือ Let's practice writing ทอทง together. Start with a short vertical line on the left side. Then it turns to make an L shape, and the top part is drawn like the shape of รอเรือ We can use ทอทง to write the word ธรรม which means the Dharma or the teaching of the Buddha. You might think that ธรรม doesn't have any vowels when you look at it, but actually it does. Whenever you see 2 รอเรือ letters side by side, it is actually a special way to write สระอะ But if there are 2 รอเรือ attached to an initial consonant with no final consonant in the syllable, then we pronounced it อัน We have a special name for the 2 รอเรือ It's called รอหัน So we write the word ธรรม as ทอทง รอหัน มอม้า ธรรม Here's the letter นอเนน The word เนน means a novice monk. นอเนน makes the sound of the letter N when it's an initial or final consonant. The shape of นอเนน looks a little bit like a combination of the letters กอไก่ and นอหนู Let's practice writing นอเนน together. Start with the head, make the shape of กอไก่ and finish with the loop on the right side with a vertical line. นอเนน is of course used to write the word เนน which we said means a novice monk. The initial consonant is นอเนน The vowel สระเอ is written to the left of it, and the final consonant is รอเรือ Remember that รอเรือ makes the sound of the letter N when it's a final consonant. นอเนน is a low-class consonant, and this word has a live ending, so it is said with a mid-tone. The last new consonant for this lesson is ยอหญิง The word หญิง means woman or female. ยอหญิง makes the sound of the letter Y as an initial consonant, and as a final consonant, it makes the sound of the letter N. ยอหญิง looks a little bit similar to the letter นอเนน that we just learned. Let's practice writing ยอหญิง together. Start with the head, make the shape of กอไก่ and bend back up, then add a curl under the letter. Most of the time when you see ยอหญิง, it appears in a pair. When this happens, the first ยอหญิง will be the final consonant of 1 syllable, and the second ยอหญิง will be the initial consonant of the next syllable. For example, here's the word สัญญา which means promise. The first syllable has the initial consonant สอเสือ with the vowel sound สระอะ written using ไม้หันอากาศ. Then ยอหญิง is the final consonant. So the first syllable makes the sound สัน with a rising tone. The second syllable has the initial consonant ยอหญิง and the vowel สระอา so it makes the sound ยา with a mid-tone. Let's write the whole word together. สอเสือ ไม้หันอากาศ ยอหญิง ยอหญิง สระอา สัญญา Let's learn one more vowel in this lesson. Here is สระอำ สระอำ is different than other vowels because it includes its own final consonant sound. สระอำ is like a combination of สระอะ and มอม้า To write it, we draw a tiny circle above the consonant, and then สระอา is drawn to the right. When spelling a word, we will say สระอำ to mean the entire symbol. For example, here's the word ดำ which means black. We spell the word ดำ as ดอเด็ก สระอำ. Because it has the sound มอม้า built into it, สระอำ always forms a live syllable, and it never has a final consonant behind it. Any letters that follow สระอำ will be the beginning of the next syllable. Now it's time for Pratana's points. Congratulations! So far you've learned all of the tone rules that are based purely on spelling. After this, you'll learn how the 4 tone marks can be used to give different tones to words. The tone marks work differently for different consonant classes, so it's important to remember which consonant class each letter belongs to. If you can't remember, go back and watch some of the earlier lessons for a review. Do you know the Thai word for chicken? In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn how to write it correctly. Here's a hint. You'll need to use a tone mark. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the letters ทอทง นอเนน ยอหญิง and พอสำเภา and the vowel สระอำ. Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn about the first 2 tone marks. Ready to start? Then let's go! So far, we've learned about tone rules based on how words are spelled, but we also have 4 tone marks which can be used to change the tone of a word. Tone marks are written above the initial consonant. If there is a vowel above the consonant, then the tone mark is placed above the vowel. If 2 letters are forming an initial consonant cluster, then the tone mark goes over the second consonant in the cluster. The tone that a tone mark produces depends on the class of the initial consonant. Or if there is an initial consonant cluster, it is the class of the first consonant which counts. The good news is that tone marks override all of the tone rules based on spelling. So for any syllable that has a tone mark, the only thing you need to know is which tone mark it is and the consonant class of the initial consonant. The length of the vowel and whether or not the syllable has a live or dead ending does not matter. The 4 tone marks are called ไม้เอก ไม้โท ไมตรี and ไม้จัตวา The words เอก โท ตรี and จัตวา originally came from an Indian language and they simply mean 1, 2, 3, and 4. The first tone mark is ไม้เอก It looks just like a short vertical line placed over the initial consonant. We're going to cover each tone rule for using tone marks one by one, starting with how they affect middle class consonants. So the rule for using ไม้เอก with middle class consonants is middle class consonants with ไม้เอก make low tone. Here's one example. This is a very common word that you hear all the time, especially in restaurants. Do you think you can read it? We have the initial consonant กอไก่ which makes the sound g. The vowel สระไอไม้มะลาย is written to its left. Then the tone mark ไม้เอก is written above. This is a middle class consonant, so according to the rule we just learned, ไม้เอก gives it a low tone. So we pronounce this word as ไก่ Maybe you already know that ไก่ means chicken. Let's write ไก่ again. In order, สระไอไม้มะลาย กอไก่ ไม้เอก ไก่ with a low tone. Here's another word written using ไม้เอก It reads เบื่อ which means to be bored. The initial consonant is บอใบไม้ The vowel is สระเอือ which is written using สระเอ to the left, สระอือ above, and ออ่าง to the right of the consonant. And the tone mark ไม้เอก is written above the vowel. This is how you write เบื่อ in order. สระเอบอใบไม้ สระอือ ไม้เอก ออ่าง เบื่อ เบื่อ also has a low tone because of ไม้เอก paired with a middle class consonant. Now it's time to introduce the second tone symbol. It's called ไม้โท Like all the tone symbols, ไม้โท is written above the initial consonant and any vowels that sit on top of the consonant. We write ไม้โท starting with a small clockwise head, and then we make a little hook pointing to the left. The rule for using ไม้โท with middle class consonants is middle class consonants with ไม้โท make a falling tone. Let's use the word แก้ว as an example. แก้ว means glass. The initial middle class consonant is กอไก่ The vowel สระแอ is written on its left side. And the final consonant is วอแหวน Without any tone mark, this would be said as แก้ว with a mid-tone. But แก้ว is a totally different word, which means hint or clue. Adding the tone mark ไม้โท above the consonant makes แก้ว with a falling tone. Do you remember the rule about using ไม้เอก with middle class consonants? Here is a word that uses both ไม้เอก and ไม้โท The word is ต่างด้าว which means alien or foreigner. The first syllable has the initial consonant ต่อเต่า and the second syllable has the initial consonant ดอเด็ก Both are middle class consonants. The rule for using ไม้เอก was middle class consonants with ไม้เอก make a low tone, and the rule for ไม้โท is middle class consonants with ไม้โท make a falling tone. So we can see that ต่างด้าว should have a low tone for the first syllable and a falling tone for the second syllable. Let's practice writing ต่างด้าว together. I will say each part in the order that they are written so you can remember the correct order for spelling. ต่อเต่า ไม้เอก สระอา งองู ดอเด็ก ไม้โท สระอา วอแหวน ต่างด้าว Now it's time for Pratana's points. When writing words that have tone marks, always write the vowel symbols that go below or above the letter before writing the tone mark. The same is true when you're typing on a computer. If you type the vowel and tone symbol in the wrong order, you won't be able to find the word that you're looking for in a search or dictionary app. Do you know the name for Bangkok's famous three-wheeled motor taxis? In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn what they're called and most of all, how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the tone marks ไม้เอก and ไม้โท Do you remember how to write them? In this lesson, you're going to learn about the other two tone marks. Ready to start? Then let's go. First up, let's learn about the third tone mark. It's called Maitri. It's very easy to remember the name of Maitri because it sounds like 3 and it's a third tone mark. To write Maitri, we begin with a small clockwise head. Then we come up and make almost a heart shape. Then there is a sharp hook and the line goes off to the upper right. Maitri. The rule for using Maitri with middle class consonants is middle class consonants with Maitri make a high tone. One common word that is spelled using Maitri is to, which means table. The initial consonant is to tau, and the vowel is sarao. There is no final consonant, so we write sarao using sarao to the left of the consonant and saraa to the right, which indicates that it's a short vowel. Without a tone mark, this would be a low tone since it has a middle class consonant with a dead ending. However, by writing Maitri above the consonant, to becomes high tone. If you've ever been to Bangkok, I'm sure you've heard this next word. Can you read it? Here we have the initial middle class consonant to tau with the short vowel sarau written below it. Above the letter, we have the tone mark Maitri making a high tone, and the final consonant is ko kai. So this would be tuk. But then we also have the symbol for repeating, mayamok. It tells us to say the syllable twice. So we have tuk tuk. In case you don't know, tuk tuk is the name for the three-wheeled taxis that you find in Bangkok and other Thai cities. Let's write tuk tuk together. To tau, sarau, Maitri, ko kai, mayamok, tuk tuk. Now it's time to talk about the fourth and final tone mark. This one is called Mai Chattawa. It just looks like a small plus sign that we can write above the initial consonant. The rule for using Mai Chattawa and middle class consonants is middle class initial consonant plus Mai Chattawa equals rising tone. One word that uses Mai Chattawa is Jeng. Jeng is a kind of a slang word that means cool. We write Jeng using Jojaan for the initial consonant. The vowel sarae is written to the left of the initial consonant. We place Mai Chattawa above the consonant, and the final consonant ngongu is on the right. The tone mark Mai Chattawa gives Jeng a rising tone. Let's write Jeng together. Sarae, Jojaan, Mai Chattawa, ngongu, Jeng. Now it's time for Pratana's points. The number of words that use Maitri and Mai Chattawa are relatively few compared with the number of words that use Mai Ek and Mai Tho. But very often, words that are spelled using Maitri and Mai Chattawa are loan words from Chinese. Many types of food that are popular in Thailand originated in southern China. Since Chinese is also a tonal language, we need to use tone marks to copy the original names of Chinese food. Do you know the Thai word for estate? In the next ตัวอักษร Thai Made Easy lesson, you'll learn what it is and most of all, how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษร Thai Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the tone marks Maitri and Mai Chattawa. Do you remember how to write them? In this lesson, you're going to learn about two high-class and two middle-class consonants. Ready to start? Then let's go! The first new letter of this lesson is called Tho Thung. The word thung means bag or sack. As an initial consonant, Tho Thung makes the sound t, like the T in top. And as a final consonant, it makes a T stop. You can see that ถอถุง contains the shape of the letter กอไก่ and looks very similar to another letter พอสำเภา Here you see ถอถุง on the left, กอไก่ in the middle, and พอสำเภา on the right. The head for ถอถุง is written clockwise and ends up inside the letter. Since ถุง means bag, you can imagine that the head is some fruit being carried inside a bag. That might help you to tell it apart from พอสำเภา which has the head sticking out to the left. Are you ready to practice writing? Let's write ถอถุง together. Start at the bottom with a clockwise head, then make the shape of กอไก่ We can use ถอถุง to write the word แถว which means row. The initial consonant is ถอถุง and the vowel is สระแอ which is written on the left side. The final consonant วอแหวน makes a sound like the letter O at the end of a syllable, and this blends with the vowel to make the sound L. แถว is said with a rising tone because it has a high-class consonant and a live syllable ending. The second high-class consonant of this lesson is ถอฐาน The word ฐาน means base or platform. ถอฐาน makes the same initial and final sounds as ถอถุง You can see that ถอฐาน is one of the most difficult Thai letters to write, but if you take it step by step, it's actually not that difficult. Think of the top part of ถอฐาน as a combination of the letters จอจาน and รอเรือ We start with a clockwise head and make the shape of the letter จอจาน then add a hook and curving line on top like the letter รอเรือ Then lift your pen up from the paper to write the extra line on the bottom. It starts with a clockwise head, then the line goes to the left with one bump and a curl. Let's practice writing ถอฐาน together. ถอฐาน The most common word that uses ถอฐาน is รัฐ which means state. รัฐ is also used as a prefix for many words that have something to do with government or statehood. รัฐ has the initial consonant รอเรือ sounding like a trilled letter R. The symbol ไม้หันอากาศ is used to show the short vowel สระอะ and ถอฐาน is a final consonant making a T-stop. We pronounce รัฐ with a high tone because of the rule low-class consonant with a dead ending and short vowel makes high tone. Let's write it together. รอเรือ ไม้หันอากาศ ถอฐาน รัฐ These are the last two middle-class consonants. Their names are ดอชดา and ตอปะตัก The word ชดา means a pointed crown, and the word ปะตัก means spear or goat. You can think of these two letters as fancy versions of ดอเด็ก and ต่อเต่า ดอชดา makes the same letter D sound as ดอเด็ก while ตอปะตัก makes the same cross between a D and T sound as ต่อเต่า. And all of them makes a T-stop when used as a final consonant. Comparing ดอชดา and ตอปะตัก to the letters ดอเด็ก and ต่อเต่า will help you to remember which one is which. The only difference when writing them is that ตอปะตัก has an extra bump in the line on the bottom. This is just like how ต่อเต่า has an extra bump on top. So you can remember that the two letters with the extra bump make the same sound. Let's practice writing ดอชดา and ตอปะตัก as a pair. Got your pen ready? Okay, here we go. Start writing ดอชดา with a counterclockwise head on the bottom. Then make the shape of กอไก่ Extend the line on the right below the head, and make a loop on the left side. Now let's do ตอปะตัก. Again, start with a counterclockwise head on the bottom, then make the shape of กอไก่ Extend the line on the right below the head. Then make one bump in the line going to the left before the loop. Let's try them both one more time. ดอชดา has just a loop on the bottom. ตอปะตัก has a bump and then a loop. Both of these letters are very uncommon, but one word that uses ดอชดา is กฎ which means rule or law. It has กอไก่ for the initial consonant and ดอชดา as the final consonant. When we have a word containing only two consonants, we know that there is an unwritten vowel สระโอ between them. กด has a middle class consonant and a dead syllable, so it's low tone. One word that uses ตอปะตัก is กบฏ which means rebel. กบฏ has two syllables. Just like the word ขนม which we have learned in lesson 14, there is an unwritten สระอะ after the first consonant กอไก่ and there is an unwritten สระโอ between บอใบไม้ and ตอปะตัก. Both syllables have middle class initial consonants and both syllables have dead endings, so they are both low tone. Now it's time for Pratana's points. You've already learned 3/4 of the Thai alphabet along with most of the vowels. All of the remaining consonants are not so common, so you should be able to read through some lines of dialogue in Thai script and be able to pronounce many of the words you see. Try to predict the remaining rules for tone marks based on any words you can find that use those marks. Then see if you are correct by watching the following lessons. Have you ever heard the Thai word พัฒนา In the next ตัวอักษร Thai Made Easy lesson, you'll learn what it means and most of all, how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะสวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to ThaiPod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet, ตัวอักษรไทย. In the last lesson, you learned the letters ถอถุง ถอฐาน ดอชดา and ตอปะตัก. Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn how to write 2 more low-class consonants. Ready to start? Then let's go. Here is the consonant ทอมณโฑ The letter is named after the character มณโฑ from Thailand's national epic poem. As an initial consonant, ทอมณโฑ usually makes the sound t, just like ทอทหาร but sometimes it can also make the sound d, just like ดอเด็ก. As a final consonant, it makes a T stop. The shape of ทอมณโฑ looks almost the same as the letter ทอทหาร. The only difference is that ทอมณโฑ has a little bump after drawing the head before making the first vertical line. ทอมณโฑ and ทอทหาร make the same sound, so that should help you to remember ทอมณโฑ. Let's practice writing ทอมณโฑ. Got your pen ready? Okay, here we go. Start with a small clockwise head, then make a curved line with an indentation. Draw a line straight down, then come back up and make a hump going to the right side. ทอมณโฑ. The next letter is ทอผู้เฒ่า. The word ผู้เฒ่า means old man. ทอผู้เฒ่า also makes the same sound as ทอมณโฑ and ทอทหาร. If you look at the shape of ทอผู้เฒ่า, you can see that it appears like a combination of the letters ต่อเต่า and มอม้า. Let's practice writing ทอผู้เฒ่า. Start with a clockwise head and draw the shape of the letter ต่อเต่า. Then blend this into the shape of the letter มอม้า. ทอผู้เฒ่า ทอมณโฑ and ทอผู้เฒ่า are both very rarely used, but one word that contains ทอผู้เฒ่า is พัฒนา which means to develop. When you look at the word พัฒนา you might see only 2 syllables, but it is actually said with 3 syllables. The first syllable has the initial consonant พอพาน the vowel สระอะ written with ไม้หันอากาศ and the final consonant ทอผู้เฒ่า. Then we use ทอผู้เฒ่า again to be the initial consonant for the second syllable, which has an unwritten vowel สระอะ. The third syllable has an initial consonant นอหนู followed by the vowel สระอา. There are many words in Thai where one letter will get used twice, first as the final consonant for one syllable, and also as the initial consonant for a syllable with an unwritten สระอะ. It's not always obvious where this will happen, so you have to pay attention when you are learning new words. We can use ทอมณโฑ to write the word ครุฑ which is the Thai name of the mythical animal Garuda. The word ครุฑ begins with an initial consonant cluster. If you remember, รอเรือ is one of only 3 letters that can make a cluster when you put it after another consonant. So the 2 consonants คอควาย and รอเรือ combine to make the sound คร. Then the short vowel sara'u is written underneath. And finally, tomonto is the final consonant. Krut is said with a high tone because of the rule low-class consonants with dead syllables and short vowels make a high tone. Now it's time for Pratana's points. Getting the wrong tone can totally change the meaning of a word in Thai. If you say the wrong tone when speaking, Thai people can sometimes figure out what you mean from the context, but other times they will think they hear a different word and they'll be totally confused. This is where learning to read and write Thai really helps. If you can remember how to spell a word, then you should automatically know the correct tone for it as well once you know all the tone rules. Do you know how to say new in Thai? In the next ตัวอักษร Thai Made Easy lesson, you'll learn this new word and most importantly, how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษร Thai Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the letters ทอมนโท and ทอผู้เท่า Do you remember how to write them? In this lesson, you're going to learn how to write the last two low-class consonants. Ready to start? Then let's go! The first new letter for this lesson is called Lọ Jula. The word Jula means a certain type of star-shaped kite, but you might hear it more often as the name of one of the best-known universities in Thailand. As an initial consonant, Lọ Jula makes the sound of the letter L just like Lọ Ling, and it would make the sound of the letter N as a final consonant. Lọ Jula looks just like the letter Pọ Phan with an extra loop at the end. Let's practice writing Lọ Jula together. Start with the head, make the shape of the letter Pọ Phan, and add a loop at the end. Lọ Jula. Lọ Jula is a very uncommon letter, but one word that you'll see it in is the word Nalika, which means clock. Nalika has 3 syllables. The first syllable is made up of Nonu and Sara'a. The second syllable is Lọ Jula and Sara'i. And the third syllable is Gokkai and Sara'a. The tones in the word Nalika are mid-tone, high tone, and mid-tone. Nalika. The other new letter for this lesson is another uncommon low-class consonant. It's called Korakang. The word Rakang means bell. Korakang makes an initial sound k and a final k stop just like Kokwai and Kokai. The shape of Korakang is just like the letter Moma, except for an extra curved line with a bump after writing the head. Let's practice writing Korakang. Start with a small clockwise head, make a curved line with an indentation on top, then continue with the shape of the letter Moma. Korakang. One word that uses Korakang is Meg, which means cloud. Meg has the initial consonant Moma. The vowel Sara'e is written to its left, and the final consonant is Korakang. Meg is said with a falling tone because it has a low-class consonant with a dead syllable ending and a long vowel. Before we move on to talk about the tone rules for using tone marks with other consonant classes, let's review all the tone rules for using tone marks with middle-class consonants. With middle-class consonants, my ek gives a low tone, my to gives a falling tone, my tri gives a high tone, and my chattawa gives a rising tone. The good news is that my tri and my chattawa are not used with the other two consonant classes, so you've already learned half of the rules for tone marks. The rule for using my ek with high-class consonants is high-class consonants with my ek are low tone. This rule is easy to remember because my ek affects high-class and middle-class consonants in the same way. Now let's take a look at this tone rule in action. Here's the word si, which means the number 4. It has the high-class consonant สอเสือ with the vowel สระอี Then the tone mark my ek is written above that. Without any tone symbol, we would have the word si with a rising tone, which means color. But adding my egg gives it a low tone, so we have 4, which means 4. Another example of my egg used with high-class consonants is the word ใหม่ which means new. Be careful when reading this word. Notice that there is an initial consonant cluster formed by a silent letter หอหีบ followed by มอม้า This means the word will start with the initial sound m of มอม้า but that letter will be treated like a high-class consonant because of the silent หอหีบ. So without any tone mark, this word would have a rising tone. However, my egg gives the word ใหม่ a low tone. Let's write ใหม่ together. สระไอไม้ม้วนหอหีบมอม้าไม้เอกใหม่ Now it's time for Pratana's points. A fun way to practice reading the Thai script is to follow along to music videos with karaoke subtitles. It's pretty easy to find the karaoke versions of many Thai music videos on YouTube and other video sharing websites. Just make sure that you watch videos that have the Thai script. Some Thai karaoke videos use romanization of the Thai lyrics, which won't be helpful for improving your Thai writing and reading skills. Do you know the Thai word that means English? In the next ตัวอักษร Thai Made Easy lesson, you'll learn how to say it and most of all, how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the letters ลอจุฬา and คอระฆัง Do you remember how to write them? In this lesson, you're going to learn about 2 obsolete letters plus some rare vowels. Ready to start? Then let's go. The Thai alphabet has 44 consonants, but 2 of them are considered obsolete and not used in the modern spellings of any words. The names of these letters are ขอขวด and คอคน They look just like the consonants ขอไข่ and คอควาย with an extra indentation drawn on the top of each. Both of these letters would make the same k sound as ขอไข่ and คอควาย if they were used in any words. But even the words that these 2 letters are named after are now spelled using ขอไข่ and คอควาย You don't spend much time on ขอขวด and คอคน as they don't appear in words in modern use. Just be aware that they are still counted as letters of the alphabet. Now let's move on to learn the last 4 of the official vowels. From left to right, there are รึรือ ลึ ลือ These 4 are different from other Thai vowels because they don't have สระ in their names. They are also different because they are a combination of consonant and vowel sounds. รึ is usually pronounced as a combination of รอเรือ and สระอึ However, there are some words in which it is pronounced as a combination of รอเรือ and สระอิ instead. รือ is pronounced like a combination of รอเรือ and the long vowel สระอือ They are both written like the letter ถอถุง with an extra long line. Then รือ has what looks like an extra long สระอา on its right side. The other pair of vowels is similar, except they are pronounced like a combination of ลอลิง with the vowel sounds สระอึ or สระอือ ลึ and ลือ are written like รึ and รือ except that the heads are sticking out on the left side of the letters. Even though ลึ and ลือ are still taught and still found in a dictionary, you will almost certainly never encounter a word that contains them. They are part of the Thai writing system due to the Sanskrit origins of the Thai alphabet. But even in India, there are very few Sanskrit words that included these 2 letters. However, every Thai elementary school student is still taught these 2 letters as they are part of the official 32 vowels in Thai. The letters ลึ and ลือ are not easy to find in any words, but รึ and หรือ on the other hand, are used in some common words. One example is the word ฤดู which means season. The short vowel หรือ acts like a combination of รอเรือ and สระอึ for the tone rule as well as for the sound. So the word ฤดู has two syllables. The first syllable is made up of the letter รึ It is high tone because it acts like a low-class consonant with a dead syllable ending and a short vowel. Let's practice writing ฤดู together. รึ ดอเด็ก สระอู ฤดู Here's the word อังกฤษ which means English. อังกฤษ has two syllables. The first syllable has the initial silent consonant ออ่าง the vowel สระอะ written with ไม้หันอากาศ and the final consonant งองู The second syllable has the initial consonant กอไก่ the vowel รึ pronounced as ริ Together they make the sound กริ like a consonant cluster กอไก่ and รอเรือ with the vowel สระอี Then the final consonant สอฤาษี makes a T-stop. The last syllable has a low tone because it has a middle-class initial consonant with a dead syllable ending. Let's practice writing อังกฤษ together. ออ่าง ไม้หันอากาศ งองู กอไก่ รึ สอฤาษี อังกฤษ Now let's move on to a new tone rule. Here's the tone mark ไม้โท which you first learned about in lesson 17. In that lesson, we learned that the rule for using ไม้โท with middle-class consonants is middle-class consonants with ไม้โท make a falling tone, like in the word แก้ว The good news is that ไม้โท affects high-class consonants in the exact same way. So the rule is high-class consonants with ไม้โท make a falling tone. Now let's apply these rules to some real-life examples with common Thai words. Here is an extremely important word for Thailand. It says ข้าว which means rice. The word ข้าว has the initial high-class consonant ขอไข่ Then the vowel is สระอา and the final consonant is วอแหวน Without the tone mark, we'd have the word ขาว with the rising tone, which is the color white. However, when we write ไม้โท over the initial consonant, it gives ข้าว a falling tone. Another very important word is ให้ which means to give or to allow. ให้ is one of the most common words used in the Thai language, so we should memorize how to spell it correctly. From left to right, we have the vowel สระไอไม้ม้วน the high-class consonant หอหีบ and the tone mark ไม้โท written above. ไม้โท gives the word ให้ a falling tone. Now it's time for Pratana's points. After learning how to read Thai, if you ever visit Thailand's neighbor, Laos, you'll notice that their writing looks very similar. Thai and Lao are in fact very closely related languages, and the alphabets are closely related too. So once you can read Thai, learning to read Lao is relatively easy. Did you know that there is a special way to write numbers in Thai? In the next ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn how to write the first 3 Thai numerals. See you there! สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet. ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the vowels รึ รือ ลึ and ลือ Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn how to write the numbers 1, 2, and 3 in Thai. Ready to start? Then let's go! The Thai script has its own style of writing numbers. The Arabic numerals used around the world are seen the most often, but on occasion you do see the Thai numerals used in Thailand, so it helps to be able to read them. Here's the number 1, which is read as 1 in Thai. It is written with a clockwise head that continues into a clockwise spiral. This is the number 2, which is 2 in Thai. It also begins with a clockwise head. Then it has 2 bumps on top, followed by half of a square shape on the bottom. Extend the tail up a little above the top part. The Thai numeral 3 looks like this. The Thai word for 3 is 3. It also begins with a clockwise head, which is followed by 2 bumps going to the right. You can easily remember its shape because it looks a little like the number 3 turned sideways. Let's practice writing all 3 numbers. Do you have your pen ready? Okay, let's go. First up is number 1, or 1, in a spiral shape. Next, number 2, or 2, with 2 bumps and a square bottom. Then number 3, or 3, with just 2 bumps. Thai numerals are combined to form larger numbers the same way as Arabic numerals, so this would be the number 12 or 12 in Thai. Can you read this number? It's 31 or 31 in Thai. So far, you've learned the rules for tone marks with middle and high-class consonants, so all that remains now is low-class consonants. The rules for low-class consonants are different, so please learn these carefully. In this lesson, we'll examine the rule for using my egg. The rule is low-class consonants with my egg create a falling tone. One example of this rule is the wordคู่, which means pair or couple.คู่has an initial low-class consonant, คอควาย. The vowel สระอู is written below it. Then we have the tone mark ไม้เอก written above it. ไม้เอก makes คู่ have a falling tone. Let's practice writing คู่ together. Start with คอควาย then สระอู and ไม้เอก คู่ Another word that uses ไม้เอก is ที่นี่ which means here. ที่นี่ has 2 syllables, and both syllables have low-class initial consonants. We use ไม้เอก with both syllables to make each one have a falling tone. So the way to write ที่นี่ in the correct order is ทอทหาร สระอี ไม้เอก นอหนู สระอี ไม้เอก ที่นี่ Now it's time for Pratana's points. One way to practice reading Thai each day is through Facebook. Even if you don't have any Thai friends yet, you can find some interesting Thai pages to like. Then when the Thai pages have new posts, you can try to read the comments that Thai people leave. This is a good way to see how Thai people communicate in a more casual, non-textbook style. And remember, Thai people are into social media in a big way. Have you ever heard the Thai word ร้านอาหาร In the next ตัวอักษร Thai Made Easy lesson, you'll learn what it means and most of all, how to write it. See you there. สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย made easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the numbers 1, 2, and 3. Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn how to write the next 3 Thai numerals. Are you ready to start? So let's go. Here's the number 4 or C in Thai. To write it, we start with a counterclockwise head, then make a little hook pointing to the bottom right. From there, the line curves over to the left and above the rest of the number. And this is the number 5 or 5 in Thai. It looks almost the same as the number 4. The only difference is the line has a loop added at the top. Then here's the number 6 or 6 in Thai. We write 6 using a small counterclockwise head. Then the line continues to make the shape of a backward letter C. And finally, there is a little tail that sticks out to the upper left, which tails off at the last part of the letter. Are you ready to practice writing? Let's try all the numbers up to 6, starting from the 3 we learned in the previous lesson. Here we go. 1 2 3 4 5 6 Now see if you can read this number. The digits are 3, 6, and 5. So it's 365 or 365 in Thai. Do you know how to read this word? You might expect this combination of letters to make the sound A, but this is a special pattern that you have to remember. The vowel in this word is actually not sara A, but sara which you learned in lesson 13. Do you remember how to write words with sara With no final consonant, sara was written with sara A on the left and ang on the right of a letter. And with a final consonant, it was written with sara A on the left and sara I above the letter. So you might expect that we would just add yak to the end of this and write with sara A, sara I, and yak. However, the sara I does not get written when the final consonant is yak. A word that uses this pattern is เนย which means butter. As you can see, the initial consonant is นอหนู and we have the vowel sound represented with the combination of sara A on the left and yak on the right. Now it's time to learn the last tone rule. Are you excited? This rule is about using the tone mark ไม้โท with low-class consonants. And the rule is low-class consonants with ไม้โท make a high tone. One important word using this is น้ำ which means water. น้ำ has the initial low-class consonant นอหนู The vowel is สระอำ and we write the tone mark ไม้โท above the consonant to give it a high tone. น้ำ Another word is ร้านอาหาร which means restaurant. ร้านอาหาร is actually a compound word. The first word is ร้าน which means shop. And the second word is อาหาร which means food. The first syllable has the initial low-class consonant รอเรือ with ไม้โท added above it to give it a high tone. The second syllable is a mid-tone อา and the last syllable is a rising tone หาร that starts with the initial high-class consonant หอหีบ. To write the whole word ร้านอาหาร in order, we use รอเรือ ไม้โท สระอา นอหนู ออ่าง สระอา หอหีบ สระอา รอเรือ ร้านอาหาร Now it's time for Pratana's points. A good reason for learning to read Thai is being able to read Thai menus. A lot of restaurants in Thailand will hand out Thai menus to Thai customers and English menus to foreign customers. But often the Thai menu has far more choices listed on it than the English version. So knowing how to read Thai can increase your dining options. Did you know that even Thai has a few irregularly spelled words? In the final ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy lesson, you'll learn how to write the most common ones. See you there! สวัสดีค่ะ สวัสดีค่ะ ดิฉันปรารถนาค่ะ Welcome to thaipod101.com's ตัวอักษรไทย Made Easy, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn the Thai alphabet ตัวอักษรไทย In the last lesson, you learned the numbers 4, 5, and 6. Do you remember how to write them all? In this lesson, you're going to learn how to write the rest of the Thai numerals plus a few irregular words. Ready to start? Then let's go! We just have 4 more Thai numbers to learn. The first one is 7 or 7 in Thai. If you remember the tone mark ไม้ตรี from lesson 19, you'll notice that ไม้ตรี and 7 have the same shape. To write 7, start with a small clockwise head. Then make a heart shape that is open on the bottom, and then add a tail that goes off to the upper right. Here's the number 8 or 8 in Thai. You may recognize the shape of this number from lesson 7. The same shape is used for the symbol ไม้ไต่คู which is written as part of the short vowel สระเอะ when it has a final consonant following it. 8 is written with a clockwise head, then a line with one bump in it going to the left that then curves up around the top of the number. Next is the number 9, which is 9 in Thai. This number starts with a clockwise head at the bottom, then the line curves over the top and straightens out, and it finishes with a little zigzag shape in the upper right. The last Thai numeral to learn is 0, or 0 in Thai. It's very easy to remember because it looks almost the same as the 0 from Arabic numerals. The only real difference is that 0 is drawn shorter and wider. Now let's practice writing the numbers from 1 to 10. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 Thai has a few irregular spellings, but the good news is that even the irregular spellings tend to follow their own special rules that can be learned. The first irregular rule is that the consonant pair of ทอทหาร and รอเรือ act like the letter ซอโซ่ so they make an S sound. One example of this is the word ทราย which means sand. The cluster ทอทหาร and รอเรือ make an initial S sound. The next common irregularity is the silent รอเรือ This will happen in words where รอเรือ forms consonant clusters with จอจานซอโซ่สอศาลา and สอเสือ When this happens, รอเรือ which is the second half of the cluster, will not be pronounced. One example of this is the word จริง which means real. It has an initial consonant cluster of จอจาน and รอเรือ but the รอเรือ is silent. So we pronounce this word as จริง Another important irregular spelling happens with the combination of ออ่าง and ยอยักษ์ at the beginning of a word. ยอยักษ์ is a low-class consonant, but we can make it act like a middle-class consonant by putting a silent letter ออ่าง in front of it. However, there are only 4 words that do this. They are all very common words though, so you must memorize them. These 4 words are อย่า อยู่ อย่าง อยาก All of these 4 words have a low tone. The first 3 use the tone mark ไม้เอก to make a low tone, and the last word is low tone because it has a dead syllable ending. You might notice that you can replace ออ่าง with หอหีบ and get the same pronunciation according to the rule we learned in lesson 15. Only we're using ออ่าง instead of หอหีบ for these 4 words. It is easiest to remember these 4 words in this order because they form an idiom. อย่า means don't. อยู่ means to stay. อย่าง means a type or style. And อยาก means to want. So the phrase อย่า อยู่ อย่าง อยาก can be translated as don't exist in a state of desire. It is also much like the English idiom want for nothing. The last irregular Thai word I want to tell you about is the word Thai itself. If you look at how we spell the word Thai, you'll see that it has the initial consonant ทอทหาร with the vowel สระไอ then there is the letter ยอยักษ์ stuck on the end. The ยอยักษ์ doesn't really need to be there and it doesn't change the sound of the word at all, but that's the way we spell it, so you have to remember it. Now it's time for ปรารถนา points. Nowadays, the younger generation of Thai people is getting very free and relaxed about how they spell words, especially with online communication. When you make friends with Thai people online, you might notice many slang words and strange spellings that you don't recognize at first and can't find in the dictionary. Don't give up though. As your Thai vocabulary increases, you'll get better at figuring out what people are really saying. I hope you enjoyed all the ตัวอักษร Thai Made Easy lessons, and I hope you were able to learn a lot. Review the lessons as much as you need to, and you'll soon be surprised at how much Thai you can read. สวัสดีค่ะ
Expand your vocabulary with our core 2,000 words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Thai ebook before it's gone.